If you get this principle right, your business becomes unstoppable. But if you ignore it, you may accidentally build an engine that becomes a weapon of mass destruction. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Bertrand, and I help business owners build profitable businesses using simple, timeless principles. Today we're going to be talking about the most ignored secret to scaling success, which if ignored can destroy your business. Many business owners and leaders enter the scaling phase excited about growth. More revenue, more visibility, more opportunity, but they miss the single most important ingredient required to sustain profitable expansion. Instead, they start chasing money under the guise of opportunity, and what follows is confusion, target hallucination, exhaustion, frustration, and most importantly, misallocation of resources. In today's video, we're uncovering the real foundation for scalable success, the secret the top 1% of entrepreneurs understand when building lasting empires. And I need you to stay with me till the end because I'll share one principle you cannot afford to ignore if you don't want your growth to collapse under its own weight. So let's dig in. When a business enters the scaling phase, it expands its territorial blueprint. The goal is to expand market share. And that expansion usually requires stronger technology, legal compliance, sophistication, advanced tax strategy, and even expanded operational infrastructure. But here's the truth. When business expansion occurs without the right leadership directives, what follows is chaos. And if dysfunction already exists, scaling only multiplies that dysfunction. Growth doesn't fix it. It exposes and amplifies it. Let's talk about Uber. Travis Kalanick, Uber CEO, built Uber into a global powerhouse valued at over $70 billion. And the concept was revolutionary. His drive was relentless. In fact, Mark Cuban, his mentor, described his greatest strength as relentless determination. But that same determination without emotional foresight and empathy became his weakness. The result was a lot of scandals, regulatory issues, and a toxic internal culture, all of which are very expensive. Now, Uber survived that drama, but Kalanick was forced to resign in 2017. Now, here's the lesson. Business growth without a solid leadership culture becomes fragile. Valuation can rise quickly, but reputation can collapse it overnight. What's the secret to sustainable scaling? When the goal is profitable, sustainable, impactful growth, the secret is not a new product. It's not another service line. It's not even a subject matter expertise. The secret is leadership. I like to say, show me your leader and I will tell you where you're going. It sounds intuitive, right? But it's constantly ignored. If you don't intentionally build a culture of leadership excellence, your long-term success becomes a gamble. So how do you then build that culture of leadership excellence? Number one, develop an ideal leadership profile. A soccer coach. And every position has an ideal profile. For example, a center back must be tall, fast, strong in the air, disciplined on the ground. A central midfielder must be agile, elusive, able to think clearly under pressure. You see, if you don't fit that profile at the elite level, you're not even considered. And business isn't different. And we're not talking about profiling background. We're talking about profiling the capability and leadership style. If you don't define what a leader looks like in your company, you fill leadership roles randomly. That randomness at scale is expensive, or worse, it's a brewing scandal. Number two, create a legacy development system. During my time in public accounting, I saw this clearly while at KPMG. With approximately $300,000 employees, give or take, globally, how are they able to remain competitive at the highest level? A structured leadership pathway. Intern staff, senior manager, director, maybe executive director to partner. People may enter at different stages, but everyone follows a defined growth architecture. Companies that scale successfully don't gamble on leadership. They manufacture it, or as I like to say, they raise it organically, homebred and farm-fed. And number three, you have to invest in training. Now, here's a question. Am I the only one who has seen companies expecting leadership excellence without investing in leadership development? How do you invest in leadership development? Through workshops, lunch and learns, coaching, conferences, and other targeted leadership activities. I once read about a business owner who evaluated potential leaders by taking them to dinner. And he would observe what they ordered, how much they drank, when they arrived, what they talked about, and most importantly, how they treated the waiter. So I'm not asking you to focus on his style. Focus on this. He had a system. Leadership excellence is intentional. It's not going to happen by accident. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to like, subscribe, and share this channel. The principles of success are not magical. They are simple. But we live in an age of information overload, and that often leads to stagnation, confusion, and sometimes corruption. This is one of the few ways you can support a positive movement without spending a dollar. So now let's get to the most important part of the video. What's the most important leadership filter? Nelson Mandela became the leader of a democratic South Africa after 27 years in prison. Not because of his corporate credentials, not because of his academic superiority, but because he demonstrated character. He endured injustice without becoming consumed by vengeance. He modeled restraint, dignity, and reconciliation. And that character qualified him to lead the nation through transition at a very sensitive time. Most companies would focus on experience, credentials, intelligence, demonstrated brilliance. But remember, brilliance without character is dangerous. And here is the leadership profile that scales safely. I'm going to go through these quickly. A leader must be temperate, not ruled by emotional swings. They have to be self-controlled, especially under pressure. A leader has to be respectable. If you do not give respect, you cannot get respect. A leader needs to be able to lead in chaos. That's calm direction when things are turbulent. A leader cannot be obsessed with money, because leaders who steward culture properly build assets that money follows. A leader has to have a good reputation. Credentials with a bad reputation equals reputational risk, scandal risk, and bankruptcy risk. If your company cannot clearly identify leaders it has intentionally developed, you need to ask serious questions. Jesus Christ demonstrated one of the most powerful examples of leadership character in history. Even while being crucified, he prayed for those who persecuted him. That's character. Before he expanded his ministry, before he performed miracles or delivered sermons to crowds, he built leaders. He first recruited them, developed them, and then trained them. And when he left, he gave them the mandate. And that mandate continues to influence the world today. The lesson is simple. Leadership first and expansion will follow. So whether you're building a business, a government, a church, or any kind of movement, you have to remember this. Develop a leadership profile, create a legacy system, invest in leadership training, and filter for character. Because brilliance without character can bankrupt your business success. Scaling does not create greatness. Leadership does. And we need to develop great leaders because our future depends on it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.